Today on the Batcave Podcast with the first ever band, Pretty Jane.
The first band ever created.
Yeah, ever, of all time. And also on the Batcave. Yes.
We're the Beatles.
So all I know about you guys is the one song you guys played downstairs, and then I read that how you guys got started was off of dating twins.
Man, we got to stop putting that on the internet.
Is this true?
Yeah,
Is this true?
100%.
It's a true story. So Ethan and Luca, they've known each other since high school, and they dated a set of twin sisters. I hate to break it to everyone, but they were not identical. They were fraternal twins.
All right, we leave that detail out.
It's more grabby if they're identical.
Yeah.
But you know, fast forward to college, and I started dating the one Luca was dating because they had broken up.
I kept dating the other one.
Yeah, and the only thing I had heard about Luca is just ex-boyfriend shit, you know? So I'm like, well, fuck this guy. And he came back into the picture one day, and we're kind of beefing, you know, because he's the ex-boyfriend who has the same hair as me, and I'm the new boyfriend who has the same hair as him. And apparently we got over it, and we fell in love, and now we're dating each other. And we've left the twins behind.
Coming out. This is good.
Which is crazy because today I'm thinking two guys are going to pull up, and then there's three, and I was like, wait. How many? Wait, how did this work out?
Triplets.
Yeah.
So how did you guys, was that the start of music period for you guys, or did you guys just join together at that point?
I think it was the first, like, substantial start of music for us, you know? Like,
Ethan and I had been in bands in high school.
High school fun projects.
Here and there. With our friends.
But I met Trevor in college and was like, I really want to get serious about music. Who should I get involved? Oh, I know, this guy who dated his ex. You know?
yeah,
And,
great idea, dude.
It was a beautiful idea.
So by the time you guys end up in the band together, you guys are friends or not yet? Are you guys...
Me and Ethan are tight because we've been
Yeah.
living together for a couple years now. And then at the point that I meet Luca, we're friends, you know, because
Yeah.
we have to keep up appearances. But, you know, I mean, there was like a lot of competition involved. And honestly, I think that the start of like that dynamic of our relationship has kind of bled into like an interesting like vibe going forward, where we sort of have this like yin and yang thing in the creative process that like I feel like kind of got its start from, you know, being Eskimo brothers.
I just recently learned that term, actually. I was like, wait.
I have one of these.
It feels like you of all people should know that.
Yeah, no, it's my first impression of Trevor was I had just moved back. I had went to college in Spain and then dropped out. So I dropped out of college, came back, tried to reconnect with all my friends, and he was there, like, kind of taking my place in the friend group. And so I remember my first impression was I was showing up for Ethan's birthday party, and it was like, hey, nice to meet you. You know what I mean?
He grabbed my hand pretty hard.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about you.
Heard so much about you, yeah.
Where'd you get a PBR?
PBR store?
They're just popping up.
This segment is sponsored.
This segment is brought to you by PBR, the Blue Ribbon of Beers. So you guys start making music together, and it's really your first experience as a band together, working with other artists. How does that go from where you guys started to now you guys seem like a cohesive band, but that obviously takes time. Like, what have you guys found that's really effective to become like a cohesive band that works together?
I'll share one way to do it, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend this method. But one thing you can do is move into the same house for 3 years, a 16 square foot house with 4 people. We had one other roommate, and breathe the same oxygen for 3 fucking years. It's, I mean, to be so on the same creative wavelength as 2 other people, I think can, like, to that level can only come from like proximity like that. And so for better or for worse, I mean, it was really like difficult, and like we had to backpedal pretty hard because like boundaries and shit, you know, and like living separate lives when you're, you know, best friends in the world, creative partners, housemates, is hard. But I think it leads to this thing where you just anticipate each other's next moves in a really cool way. And like, my favorite thing is being in the studio because it is like the most harmonic like experience, because it just feels like there doesn't need to be very much communication, because so much of that comes from just the lived experience of like, you know, you're a wall away, you know, for 3 years.
Yeah. I feel like so many people, whether it's high school or college, want to make a band with their friends, and usually it just ends up being like, oh, we go play at this bar and we do songs together like occasionally. Then there's nothing wrong with that, but what do you think got you guys to the point where you are like consistently putting music, have a following, and you know, like end up moving to Nashville together? Like,
I think you got to talk about Too Few Tattoos for that.
Well, I think what it was working really, really hard at it, which I think we put a lot of time together towards music, which I think living together and doing that allowed us to develop together really quickly. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for most bands. I think that there is something beautiful about having like separate lives and coming together to work on music, even if it's not as like efficient. And I think we are where we are now, and I wouldn't change where we are now because of how close we are. But sometimes we're a little too close, you know what I mean? So it's actually, I think we've been taking kind of steps apart for a little bit on this next album.
I mean, you're right though. Everyone and their mother wants to start a band with their high school friends.
Yeah.
And so I think the why behind that is really important. And like, why do you have, you know, 1,000,001 bands in you know, kids in their garage or whatever? And what sets those bands apart from, you know, the 1975 that have been forever together, or the Beatles, you know, they were friends as teenagers, you know, and what's the difference between, you know, a bunch of kids that never turn it into anything versus, you know, bands like that? And I think it's the why, you know, and I didn't hitch my wagon to these two guys because like we were all the best musicians in the world and it was like, holy shit, like this is going to be amazing because we're all so talented. I hitched my wagon to these guys because like they really gave a shit to the level that I did, and they wanted the same thing out of the art that I did. And so I feel like I've seen a really cool maturity with the band where we started in the community of those bands you're talking about, the kids in college that wanted to, that's how we started. We played basement shows and it was fucking lit, you know. I mean, that's like there's a special place in our heart for that scene, but with it comes so many people that are just, you know, fucking around, you know, for lack of a better term. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we all like, I mean, our friends for years have seen this like intensity from us that they're like, y'all gotta chill because you're too intense.
Right. Yeah.
And they're right. Like we overdid it, and we're having to like again backpedal and remind ourselves like why we're doing it. But the intensity was there out of a passion for like, this is what we want to do and this is why. And I just think the bands that really become something significant have that, and the bands that don't.
Yeah, and I think like I get the piece that you're saying at the end there with like chilling on the intensity, but I think that like if you don't have that intensity, I don't know if like you guys, not to say like your guys' talent here or there, but just like it's so hard if you don't have that connection to get to the point where you guys are willing to like move to Nashville. And like that's like huge to move across the country with three guys together. Hey, we're going down, let's move, change our lives completely. Like it's Nashville and Detroit are not the same place at all, so it's completely different.
This guy was going to be a biochemistry major and I was going to be computer science. We graduated and we were like, no, we're going to do this serious leap of faith. We're just going to abandon all of that or put it on hold.
And we got some really expensive pieces of paper.
Yeah, really.
I think more than like our friendship, what binds us together is that mutual respect we have for each other. Like we are tied to each other financially, with like in terms of our career, and we have this respect for each other where we know we're not going to let each other down. And I think that's almost stronger than our friendship, because friendship, you know, it fluctuates, it comes and goes sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's like, that connection is always there.
Yeah, we've always felt like we've had equal stakes in Pretty Jane, and we all feel like we have ownership of it in that sense.
That's awesome. How did you guys come up with the name Pretty Jane?
Oh, who wants to take that one?
If we tell you the answer to that, you have to take off your mask, and I know you're not going to.
Okay.
I know you're not going to do that, so I guess you won't get to know. Well, do you take it off in bed? That's my only question.
Sometimes. Fuck, what was I gonna ask? I had a question and you completely threw me off. Oh, I don't know. So there's so many new things all the time popping up in music, whether it's streaming, whether it's going towards this genre, putting out more music that sounds like this. I feel like even individual artists struggle figuring out like if they want to try something new or if they want to do something else. How do you guys handle it from like a band perspective? If one of you is like, oh, maybe I want to try like doing some live streaming stuff with it, or like how do you guys do that together cohesively when you
like venture into new
avenues? Yeah, I guess just any avenues general.
I think initially not very well.
We stumble through it. For sure.
And I think honestly Luca has been like, he's kind of the, for better or worse, he's the visionary, right? So like he's infamous for switching things up at the last moment, being like, what if we did this? Which pissed us the fuck off. I think we're just like, me and Ethan were a lot more type A, and it's like crazy how much I've changed in the past 5 years of being in a band with Luca, because I've learned to not only just deal with that, but also like understand why it's valuable, and honestly do a little bit of it myself. Like when we left the house today, I was like, what if we brought that bathtub and that rope?
Yeah, that was very last.
And we're like late already. We're on our way out the door. Me 4 years ago would have never suggested that because we're late to the meeting. We got to get there, right? But you know, I just like, I've started to see the value in spontaneity. Yeah, and like I think we resisted that a lot at first as a band, but props.
Oh yeah, that's Luca's rubbed off on us a bit.
Yeah,
that was cool earlier. I was like, who are you guys right now? Trevor, that was.
I have my moments.
So you guys moved from Detroit to Nashville. What was that first bit like, I guess, moving to a new place together, you know, trying to get your roots planted here? What were some of those first early stages like?
One moment that sticks out to me is we were moving all of our stuff down, and Luca's parents came down to move us, and his mom, when they were leaving, his mom looked at me and said something that I'll never forget. She said, lift each other up. And it like, to this day, I can't even talk about it without getting emotional, because like, it's been difficult, you know, living in such close proximity with like really high stakes, you know, like our income, our careers, our futures, our, you know, self-worth and self-respect and respect by society is kind of like in the hands of each other, you know, like we could kind of fuck it up for one another, or bail on one another. You know, there's a lot riding on it. And with that, I think has come a lot of tension, but it's like in that first week of being here, my greatest memory is that moment. And I think that has like just stayed with me the entire time, where I'm like, lift each other up, you know, like these are my partners in crime, you know? And so I don't know, I think that's what I remember from moving down here.
Yeah, these guys became each other. I mean, we became each other's family, you know, when that happened. There was no other option.
And that's what, I mean, you were saying earlier, like it's not, there's this thing of like, oh, you guys are such good friends. You guys are all best friends, you know? And that was like a fun narrative, I think, for the first couple of years when it was like really easy to be light and best friends, right? But then something a lot more special replaced that, and that's like, these people are family now. Like when difficult shit happens in your family, it hurts me. Yeah. When difficult shit happens in my family, it hurts you guys. Right. And that has like replaced this sort of, I think, identity that we're trying to get away from, of like these fun-loving like best friends that met in college and whatever.
Happy-go-lucky.
And I don't think
we're not always friends, but we are always family, I think.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to put it, because I think there are like, that's one of the hardest things about friendship, is so much of your life changes, and like the same thing with family, but at the end of the day, you are still family, and that is like, when you view it as family, it's like, yeah, we might have tough shit come up, but at the end of the day, we're going to figure out a way. Like, it doesn't have to be good today, but we're going to figure out how in the future it's going to be good again.
We know we're going to be good.
I feel like we sound like Vin Diesel right now.
I'm good. Family. It's all about family. Selfishly, I want to know from each of you what your favorite song is that you put out like as a band, because I want to listen to more after this.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
You got an answer?
I like Cattails. I think that's the one I'm the most proud of. And I also like the latest one. I think Do You Want Me Around, like, in terms of like the production and stuff, that one's my favorite, like sonically.
Ooh, I'm stuck between Quiet or one of the very first songs we did together was Spaced Out, and that one kind of holds this special place, even though now I view it kind of differently than I did then, but Spaced Out or Quiet.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, nostalgia.
It's a tough one, you know, because like we've changed so much as people since the first song, and but I don't know. I mean, I hate to steal yours, Luca, but I mean, Cattails obviously means a lot to me, and is very personal to my story, and felt like maybe the first song that I ever sang where it was me and me alone singing, you know? Mm-hmm. Like sometimes it's me with a little flavor or whatever. And I think it took a long time for me to like feel comfortable enough to just sing into the mic and have it be Trevor, you know, and not, you know, whatever version I think is going to sound good for that song or be received by people. So, I mean, like, as a song, the songwriting, the production, I'm incredibly proud of that song, but I think the thing I'm the most proud is like the character that I'm playing or not playing in this case, right? It's just mm-hmm. myself. So Cattails probably.
Yeah. Absolutely. I definitely have to listen to Cattails. Yeah. What has your guys' live performance history been like as far as like performing, like as far
tours and stuff?
Yeah.
Sure, I mean, we touched on it, but I mean, before we moved to Nashville, we were just kind of like that college band that was playing house shows and whatnot, but now we've gotten a West Coast tour opening for a group and then a couple of East Coast tours. So now this will be...
Yeah, we're halfway through a headline tour as well. It's called the Public Intimacy Tour. Yes. It's for the EP that we just dropped, which is out now. And we did an East Coast leg of that in October, and then in March we're heading out again. So if you're in Texas or the West Coast or Vancouver, Canada, you know, come out and see us. But I mean, like, I think as a band, we still retain the spirit of where we started. Like, home was basement shows, you know, it was underground, it was Detroit, it was like energy, you know, and
raw energy.
I think we've grown up, but we haven't, you know, we still remember the roots, I think, and that comes out in the show, I think.
That's awesome. That's super cool. If you guys could go and tour as a band opening for another band, who would you guys is like top, like bucket list, like I want to open?
Can we do band or artist?
Yeah, band or artist, whatever, artist. Like.
Katy Perry.
Just right out the jump.
Damn. It's got to be Katy Perry.
Yeah.
No.
Everyone's just like, we actually have a board at home that says Katy Perry.
Yeah.
No, we love Katy Perry, but I think I don't know. Big Thief is definitely up there for me. There. Or like Adrienne Lenker solo stuff. I'd love to play with her. But what would be like a good match? I feel like we would love to open for the 1975.
1975, Dijon, McGee.
Yeah.
Those kind of guys.
Yeah, Dijon was just here and I missed it. And I'm so sad about it.
Him so much.
Yeah.
He's such a cool
I think right behind Big Thief would be Slow Pulp for me. It's a great alternative band out of Chicago.
Yeah, they have some really cool stuff.
I think Slow Pulp would be really cool.
I think if the Katy Perry tour doesn't work out, Slow Pulp.
Slow Pulp's the runner-up.
I'm standing by Katy Perry.
It's gonna happen. What do you guys see? Like you mentioned, the show is already lined up, but as far as like goals for the year together, outside of what you've already accomplished with setting up a headlining tour, which is phenomenal, by the way. Congratulations on that, because that's not an easy feat, especially when you're trying to schedule it around 3 people's schedules. That's insane to pull off. So congrats on that. But like as far as like the rest of the year after what you've already set up, what's in the tank for you guys?
We've got a couple festivals scheduled.
Breaking into that,
so we're doing like a couple on tour. We're hitting South by and Treefort. And then I can't remember the other ones that we have.
I want to make a record, man. I want to make a record. So I mean, I think that's next in the chamber for us. Is like and I mean the cool thing, and I know we complained about living together for like a long time, but like I think the cool thing about it has been that we've been able to like cultivate our own studio space and do a lot of the work in house. And so I mean, we've been talking very seriously about, instead of recording like we normally do at some of the studios here in Nashville, doing like an entire record ourselves at home, you know, and have it be super authentic and honest, you know.
Yeah, the studio is really coming together. We have like a whole basement floor. That's just our recording studio. We've just invested a lot of money into it. And so that's been really fun to play around with.
And that would be super cool to have just record like you guys making it the whole time, and you can make like a behind the scenes
yes,
hour-long documentary of like the project you guys make because it's all in the same spot.
Don't hold me to this, but I'm kind of feeling like I want to do the whole thing live. Track the whole thing live, film the whole thing while we do it.
Yeah.
Play it all the way through, and then just release that. Maybe do some overdubs and stuff like that. But like for like background vocals and gangs and stuff. But
Very deep shot.
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. If you guys could go back in time and tell you guys something like this is what you should do differently, what would it be as far as like becoming a band, working together? And then the second part, what is the thing you guys are most proud of how you did it?
I'd tell Trevor in, 2023 to chill the fuck out. And you're doing all right. And then what was part 2?
What are you really proud of that you did do? Like what's something that you're really proud of about the choices you made?
Yeah.
I think sticking with it, you know, because it's like you asked what separates a college band from a not college band, and I think that's it. You know, it's not what it looks like in the movies. It's not fun all the time, and there's a bunch of hard shit, and we decided to keep going. You know, so I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we've had to sit there and bang our heads against the wall for 6 or 8 hours, unable to write what we want to write, and then, but pushing through some of those kind of moments and being together while we do it.
I think for me, 2 things. One, I would consider not moving in together. We've talked about this openly. I think that sometimes like it would be nice to have a little bit more space from each other, and I think our relationship would have matured differently. I don't know if it would be better or worse, but I think that's something I'd be interested in trying, and I think we have been talking about that as well, potentially for the future. And then the other thing would be I would not insist on doing everything together all the time like I used to. Like I think I was very into doing everything together and having all of our fingerprints on everything at all times. And I think that as we've worked together more, like we split off a little bit more. And I'm realizing that there's a beauty in that as well, because Trevor can go off and write a song on his own, and he'll write the most beautiful song ever. And it's just pure Trevor. And that's something you would never get if, my fingerprints were all over it. And we can work on things separately and then come together and get really excited about the things that the other person has made. And I think that's almost a lower stakes and more fun way of working.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, last question is just, if you guys could say one thing to your fans today, what would it be?
Damn.
Kiss your friends.
Send me feet pics. Please.
I don't know how to follow those two. But if I could say anything to our beloved fans, it's that we need to fix the suspension on our bus, and it's going to be really expensive, and we need you to buy tickets to this tour. So please do that.
Honestly, just Venmo us.
Yeah.
Like, please.
We're going to go bankrupt to get on the road. It'll be worth it.
We have PayPal and Zelle. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys taking time
Thanks,
after
Batman.
everything.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Saving Gotham.
Rachel. Where's Rachel?